Yeah, can anyone confirm is my screen is able to visible for everyone? Can anyone confirm this?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great, great. Sirana, so as I mentioned already, so we generally, whenever we joined any company or any industry as an IT person, so we will follow a common architecture, that is three-tier architecture we simply called as part of client and server, or I can say MVC or MVT. Okay, generally Java people will use Java or .NET people will use the MVC. Okay, the word called MVC architecture, model view controller, but as a Python people we use the architecture called MVT. Both are similar to each other, but only the terminology is different. Okay, this is the architecture name. And in general words, if you speak about the same thing, we called it as a three-tier architecture. Okay, so this is what we are going to be first of all covering today. So it will give you a clear-cut idea on what is the scope of each technology we are going to be learning, and also how the front end and back end communicating each other with respect to any application. Okay, even after explaining this, I will show you a simple case Google we can take how that is communicating, like how that is working. We'll see now. Okay, and now see, first of all, like I will take a simple example as we already know, that is Google. If you say, okay, so as a client or as a customer, if I want to search something, first what we will do generally, see, we are coming to here like in the Google search page, right? In this we are coming past, and then we're opening, see, the Google image and followed by search icon, right? And or otherwise, if you go for side through, we can open the google.com generally. Yes, this is the official Google search page where you can type something and you can click on search. So this is we call client interface. That means this interface will help us to communicate with the customer. So because whatever the data, let's take, I want to see the Python tutorials. Okay, so now if I want to see the Python tutorials, what are the websites are available in the www, or what are the YouTube channels are available in the YouTube, I'm not sure. So I can't directly go to type on the Google. So that's why I just want a list of the what do you call the URLs which are available or which are providing the Python tutorials. That is what as a customer I want. So for that, what I'm trying to do, I required an interface where I can search it. So first I developed as an Google application server, I Google developer, I developed an interface where user can give his keywords. Okay, like example, I'm giving Python tutorials. Okay, so this is the first expectation from the user. Now once you click on the search, so the Google what is doing, the keywords whatever you enter, that is sending through query by the URL. If you see here in the URL, so he is sending q is equal to Python plus tutorials. The keywords whatever I entered, they're sending to the server through this particular URL. Okay, so now once these keywords reaching to the Google server, what Google is doing with respect to the Python plus tutorial keywords, how many links are available in the net, out of that it is also doing the indexing. That means top popularity, what are the popular websites which are available in the internet, that it will retrieve, and all that links will gather as a form, as a outcome or JSON form by the server, and that output is displaying in the front end as a links. If you see, these are all links. Now you don't require to remember the website URL, just you can click on the link, it will redirect to the respective URL. See, all the links which are available in the market is coming here. So this how this picking the data, and see the topmost how it is doing, that is internal server work, and the remaining they are putting as a pagination basically, right? So this is the idea of the what do you call a client server concept. So obviously in simpler words I can say a client is sending a request through interface or web page, and that will processed by the server, and the server will send back the response to the again front end. So front end will display the data in more look and feel, I can say that graphical user interface, so user can easily read the data, user can easily understand the response. So instead of just showing the data in raw format, I can say that just text format, they will make some kind of coloring, alignments, and images they will use. So that might improve the user experience, I can say that. So this is how the things is going on in real time for any applications, not only Google, it's not only Facebook, it's not only Flipkart. If you consider any application, that will follow the same architecture. So client will give the request, server will process the request, and server will send back the response to the client, and the client will display the response in GUI format. So this is happening in any application, what do you call it, flow of application, I can say that. The same flow only even we are also using in our application development, what we are going to be learning. So is this point clear? First of all of you, is this clear? You can ask me doubts now. You don't require to wait till the last minute of the class or last minute of the application. You can ask me whenever you have any doubt. You can ask me, no issues. So still the point clear? Any doubts? So if you observe here, two pages we have to develop as a front end. One is a search form, and the one the response form. Okay. So let's take here, if I'm taking the same Google example only, see here. So the first point here is we required one uh, client page, I can say that. Okay. Okay, this is, let's take example, your client interface. That is what we call search page. Okay. So now as a user, like he will use this particular interface as a customer. Okay. Okay. So as a customer, I came to this particular website. Okay. And I'm trying to using this particular site through this particular interface. So this is your interface to enter your data. Let's take, I'm taking this is as an interface where we can have the search box and have some button. Let's take search. Here we have search button. Let's take example. Okay, SEARC. Okay. Okay. So like this, some search box will be there. Okay. So now as a end user, he want to communicate. So to the get the site, so he will communicate with this particular interface. Now, as we did initially, he as a customer, he will enter some keywords in the search box and he will click on this particular search button. Okay. Now what happened internally, this particular client interface, whatever the interface you are able to see here, it will send a request to the server. Okay, let's assume that here there is a server is there. Okay, so this is actually your Google server. Okay, this is your actual where the Google is deployed his server in the different places. Like example, we have Google servers in Hyderabad, New Delhi, Mumbai, USA, UK, like that, right? That each of the server, one of the server we can take. So this server will help us to take the request and will process our request. Let's take it is server. Okay, this is server, and coming to this one, our client interface. So client means nothing but your browser only. Okay, so basically whenever we say something is client in our computer, so our browsers only will act as a client. That's because whenever you want to send a request to the server or whenever you want to consume the internet, the basic application we required in our laptop or desktop is browsers like Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, and Edge. So these are all different browsers which are available, and these are acting as a client systems for sending the request to the server. Okay, and now this client browser, like assume that in our case Chrome we taken, right? Now I open the Google website and I entered something in the search bar. Now this Google browser, I mean to say this is a client interface, will send a request to the server. Okay, so now it will send a request to the server to process the our request. So that is the basic idea. So now whatever the keywords we are giving, that everything will send to the server, and it is internally using a protocol called HTTP protocol basically to send our data, HTTP or HTTPS. So these are the two protocols. It is a secure layer, it is without secure, but one of the protocol which can be used to send our request to the server. And here two things will be carried. One is request to what to process along plus request plus data. it will also send the data to process. Like example, in previous case, we send the Python tutorial slide. So that Python word also, keywords also will send along with this particular request to the server. Now server will take this request as an input. Okay. Now server will process your request. Whatever the data we entered or whatever the request we given to this particular server, it will process the request, and if required it also can communicate with a source of database also. So whenever it is required to do some operations on the back end side, I mean to say to store some data, it will take and it will store or it will retrieve the data from the respective database which is used in the application side. So now this server, in between processing of the request, if at all required, it will send a request to the server. Means it may be for storing the data, it may be for retrieving the data, but in our Google case, it is for retrieval. Like whatever keyword we entered, with that link, keyword, what are the links are available in the database, it will fetch it. But if you go for registration, so it is a meaning of insertion. That means we are going to be insert the data. So it will send a request to the database. Similarly, it will get the response from the database. Okay, so now once the server got the proper response from the database, the same response, the same data will got from the database, it will make it in readable format and it will send back to the client. Sorry. Okay, so it will send back to the client with readable format, because the actual server format sometimes cannot be understood to the customer. So it will send the data in proper format. That proper formats are what it is in the market. Means we have two formats we have in the market. One is JSON or another one is XML. So these are the two formats which are available in the market to make it the server response to be understandable from to the client system. Okay, now it is a simply, I can say that it is a response. Okay, so response means here in our terminology, response means it is a plain data. Okay, only data will come. It doesn't give any UI or it doesn't give any styles or animations. Only it will send the data from server to the client. Now again, client will recreate another interface. Okay, client will create a new interface, that means new web page. So where the actual data will be stored in more designed or more elevated format. Let's take example. I'm giving a simple example here. Like this, whatever the data we have, it will customize and display in a proper readable format. And now this outcome, this response, whatever we are able to see here, that again can visible by the customer. Okay, so this is the general, a high level flow of application or flow of project for any single web page or any single application, I can say that. Okay, so whenever a customer wants some data from the server through client interface to the server. Okay, now server will process the request and will communicate the database if required and send back the response to the customer as a web page. Now customer can able to see the outcome and he can utilize the data which is shown on the outcome. So this is technical flow of any application in any project. Python or Java, it's same. We are talking about Python, so I'm telling the flow of application, the Python itself. Okay, so in this flow, any doubt, please let me know. Otherwise, now I will explain each area of this particular flow. What are the different technology will be used and what is the use of the respective technology, we'll see now. So can anyone, I mean that if anyone have any doubt, please ask me till the point. Can you speak up, anyone? Is it able, first of all, is it, my voice is audible to anybody? So all of you? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, it is audible.
Yes, sir, you are
Okay,
audible.
so yeah, does anyone have any doubts?
No, sir.
As of now, clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. So then I will continue the remaining things. Okay. So now, as part of database, again we have two types, Nana. Okay, in real time, if you consider any project with respect to market, IT market, these databases are segregated into two types. Okay. So one is relational database. Okay. So one is relational database, and the another one is non-relational. So for the relational databases only, examples are MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, DB2. So these are all relational databases. Okay. And with respect to communicate with all these relational databases, okay, we have a common language called SQL. This is a common language which we use it for communicating with this any of these database, not only for MySQL, not only for Oracle, for all the databases, the common language which we use it to communicate SQL. So where the data can be stored, I mean to say the database, whatever we call relational database, we are storing in structural format, that is we call tables basically. So the data will be stored in the tables, where the table consists rows and columns. Each table consists some rows and columns, and that each rows and columns only we are indicating by the data basically. Okay. Similarly, we have the another what we call the database. So that is called non-relational database. Okay. So there is another one. Another type is non-relational database. Non-relational means where we are storing the data in the form of JSON data or XML data. It's not the tables. I can say rather than structured tables, here it will be non-structured format, unstructured format, or I can say the semi-structured format. So that is how the non-relational DB came into the picture. Mostly it is used for storing the media data, like example e-commerce or streaming. Like example, if you go for Netflix or Amazon Prime, these are all will be mostly used in non-relational. Okay. So for non-relational examples are MongoDB, one of the popular one is MongoDB, and Cassandra, and GraphQL query language. So these are all non-relational databases. Okay. And as I mentioned, for this also we have a common language to communicate, that is NoSQL. Okay. And here, as I mentioned already, the data will be stored most of the times in the JSON. Very less times it will be XML, but most of the times will be JSON format. We are storing the data. Or in our regular understandable language, it is dictionary format. Okay. So these are the two types of databases we have in the market. So one is relational database and another one non-relational database. So any of the database can be used for our regular work, but generally logins, profiling, I mean the customer profile management and data management, these for all these relational database suitable. Only for the media or the images or the more content, I mean that what you call videos, audios, for that mostly the people are using non-relational database. And even some places, like example, if you consider Netflix only, they are using hybrid, means they are using both relational and non-relational. Based on the requirement, they can categorize it. Okay. So that's why we are going to be learning MySQL along with the SQL to understand the database and to work with the database with respect to our project requirements. So that's why we are going to be learning this part. So I hope you understand why we are learning MySQL SQL. So these two are part of relational database, and where it will be helpful for creating a data storage for our project, what we are going to be doing in the upcoming days. And here purely we are using SQL to store our data, to retrieve our data. And mostly the first primary activity, you should understand the CRUD operations, like how to perform the insert, delete, update, and retrieval. So these are the basic operations first we should understand with respect to database, so that we can start working with respect to our project. Okay. So this is how the things will be done in the database. And coming to the communication channel. Okay. So whatever the channel we have here, so for this, if you go for Java, they are using JDBC or Hibernate, something like that. But in our case, our what you call Python side, either you can use pure SQL or we can use ORM. There is a module called ORM in the Django. So that will help you to communicate with your database, like object relational mapping. Okay. So this will help us to communicate with the database. So I'm removing this part. Okay. Just give me a second. Yeah. So here we are using SQL, SQL, and as I mentioned, ORM. So these two things you can utilize for database communication from our server. Okay. So this is the we can say one of the layer in the our MBT or MBC architecture, three-tier architecture, that is backend layer. I can say that. Okay, backend layer, or we called it is a storage layer. Storage layer. Okay. So any doubts as of now with respect to backend? Does anyone any doubt? Any doubt? No, if you don't have any doubt, just tell me. We don't know, so that I can understand whether you're clear or not, whether you're able to listening my words or not. That's what my expectation. Okay, done. So I am taking as a none. So I'm going further. Now coming to the second layer called server. So this is technically called as middle end, or we call business end, because where we are implementing the core logic or business logic for our application, the main coding part or logical part what we are written for application, that will be involved in this particular server layer only or business layer only. Okay, so here we are implementing our logic, our technology from by using this particular server part only. Okay, so now we have the language to support the servers are, like as we know, Java, Python, .NET, C Sharp, and also PHP, Node.js. These are the different flavors of server-side technology. So out of that, we chosen here is Python is a language, whereas the Python can be used to create an application logic, the code. But to build a web application or to build a kind of project, we require a framework, that is we are using Django. And also we have different frameworks for with respect to different types of application. Example, uh, the base component, base language Python. That's why we should understand very thoroughly Python for even though for freshers mostly, because when you are implementing this all project or when you are mentioned this all in the resume, definitely as an interview they will first start with Python only, because that is the core language to implement the programming. So that is important. So please focus more time with Python. And second thing, Python is as a base layer, it giving so many options to the customer to utilize the Python with respect to different frameworks. Like example, Django and Flask. These are the two major frameworks in the market which are used for web application. So if you go for a small scale application, we can go for Flask. But if you go for a good size of web application, we are going for Django. And similarly, we have Pygame, so which is used to develop the games using Python. Similarly, we have PyAPI, which is used to develop the APIs, the test the APIs. And if you want to use the ML, machine learning, so we have different libraries like scikit-learn, scikit-image, pill, and numpy, pandas. These are all different Python libraries which are used to enhance your Python capabilities in different areas. So in our case, we are mostly spending initially to develop a web application. So that's why we are going to be learning Python along with Python framework called Django. Okay, so these two technologies will help us to develop a server-side web application where we can interact with client-server communication. Okay, so that's why we are going to be touching Python and Django as part of our application development. And after that, coming to the, see, as we know, the client or the server, basically both are missions only, there's no difference. But the mission which has browser, and where you open some website through browser, where you send a request, then we call it as a client, as just before I mentioned. But server is also a mission like our laptops, like our desktops. There is no difference, but only difference, most of the servers doesn't have the UI basically, because this is a component. But Here I can't purchase, here I can't take some cloud for the payment as a server. Example, if you want to install a server in your machine, it takes lakhs of money if you take the real physical server, real server, but we can't affordable that. So that's why to test our application or to run our application, we required a free source, or I can say that a local server. So that is technically called as local host. Okay, so for local host we will use basically Apache Tomcat. So this is the one of the very popular server, local server I can say that, which can be simulate the actual server interface, or I can say that environment. So that means if you installed Apache Tomcat in your machine, so then your machine only will act as a server till the point, but it is not actual server, it's a local server, but you can able to feel how the real server is doing the same behavior we can achieve by using Apache Tomcat. So free of cost we can achieve this, and we can use this as a local server to run our applications. Because if you want to run the client application like HTML, yes, we don't require any server, it's required only browser like Chrome or Edge. But if you want to run some server application like Django or Flask, we should require server like Apache Tomcat. And other than the server, what are the paid ones? Like we have WebSphere, and we have that AWS cloud servers are we have, and also we have different VMware we have. So these are different options to install your actual servers, and we can use it. But as a beginner level, we don't require that all the stuff. We can manage with this Apache Tomcat. So this will help you to communicate with this particular what you can say that middle and core logic. Okay, so once you complete this particular core logic, obviously the next part we require to understand how to display the response, or how to create a UX or UI pages to interact with the customer more efficiently, more friendly nature, and more easy way. So for that only we are using this particular client interface designing. So that is only technically called as GUI, or simply graphical user interface designing. Okay, so this is what the front end part, okay, interface part. And here we technically call it is web page. Okay, we call it as a web page. Why? Because the interface what we are designing is only executable in the web applications or web browsers, I can say. That's why we call web page. And it consists basically media content, links which are navigating from one page to another page. Links means menus or link text, and also some of the forms we have to read the data, and some of the labels which can display the data. So this all together, along with the styles, animations, colors, effects, we will design a web page which will easily interact with the customer as shown in the Google. Okay, so for developing this web page we require technologies like HTML, which will help you to create a static web page. So that means simple, a straightforward web page if you want to create, you can use the HTML. After that, CSS and Bootstrap. These two are used to develop the designs and styles, I can say that. So this is not make any actions, but if you want to make a kind of a graphical user interface, I mean to say a beautiful user interface to design the content, we'll use these two, CSS and Bootstrap. And finally, JavaScript. So it is a very efficient client-side scripting language which will act as a programming language only, like Java, like Python, like what I can say that PHP. But only difference, JavaScript does not require any server to execute the script, as like Apache Tomcat. We don't require that. So it directly execute in your browser only, in your machine only. So that's why we called it is a client-side scripting. That means front end only. It is not part of back end. And also whatever the actions you can able to execute as part of Python, everything we can able to do in the JavaScript. And trust me, one more point here, advantage, both JavaScript and Python similar to each other. So they both are scripting only, but only difference, Python is server side scripting, JavaScript is client side scripting. The only difference, the execution place, but both are having same notations, both are having same functionalities. So you can easily understand. Like example, if you're really good understanding in Python, JavaScript doesn't take much time to understand, you can easily learn it. The only advantage is of JavaScript, you can perform the some of the actions in your machine only, instead of sending everything as a server. Like example, validations like mobile number validation, email validation. Now to do that validation, really server not required, so you can do in browser only. And if you want to do some kind of minor calculations, example, I entered date of birth, so age should be displayed. or I entered from date to date, number of days in between it has to display. So such kind of things can be handled by JavaScript. For that there is no need of Python or server. And even like example, you are going for add to cart, right? You entered a quantity along with the product ID. Now based on the quantity, the total cost is automatically displayed. So that also we can achieve by JavaScript. So likewise, the smaller interactions with respect to front end we can do using JavaScript. And also JavaScript in terms of security is not really good. That's why JavaScript, the only limitation, one is security, another one, it cannot communicate with the database. Maybe some people may ask me, so if JavaScript Python will do same thing, then why can't we use JavaScript for our application development? Yes, we can do it, but JavaScript, the only limitation, it cannot interact with the database. It doesn't have capability of that because of security problem. So if you want to do some communication with the database, like example registrations, login, insert, delete, so these are all, for all these operations we does depend on any of the server technology like Python or like Java, PHP. We cannot perform by using JavaScript. That's why along with this JavaScript we should learn any of the business language. That is, here we are going to be learning Python. But JavaScript is also very powerful language in recent days. If you observe that, it has a bright scope in the market also. Like example, if somebody wants to settle in the front end itself, we don't want to go for back end due to some reason, yes, by using JavaScript you can enhance your framework. Like example, React JS or Angular JS, these are the different applications which are market, or frameworks which are in the market to develop the front end application, not the back end. Means which does not include any database or any backend logic. It only involves the front end display logic. So how the data is coming from the server, like as I mentioned, right, the data will come from backend to front end JSON or XML. This can be utilized and can be displayed in proper format by using this particular front end technologies. So this is overall the technologies what we are going to be learning and what we are going to be utilizing as part of our project. Okay, now if you observe clearly here, some of the technologies we covered, but we are not mention any tools, right? So for each one, like example, see, for example, to work with the database we require database called MySQL. To again, MySQL is a server based component, so we require an interface. So for that only we are using an interface called SQL. So I hope some of the people installed this one already, but this is what we used for the interface for our database side. So whenever you want to do any interactions with the database, we used SQL. So this is an interface for communicating with the database. So this is an interface, not the server. This is an interface. And coming to the middle end, so to work with the Python and Django, we require some editor, like example Notepad, Notepad, but it is difficult to write the code in the Notepad for every time, right? So for this, the official editors in the market is, one is Python, the other is mostly used is Visual Code, Visual Code. Visual Code, okay, VS Code. I can say shortcut Visual Studio Code we called VS Code, okay. So these are the two official editors in the market available for working with the Python. But PyCharm is more prominently used editor for Python, especially for other technologies. Definitely VS Code will be more used one, and even for Java, Eclipse also there. Okay, for Python mostly PyCharm. So that is the tool we are using for here also. Okay. And for front end, mostly we used VS Code for front end development, who works with, like as I mentioned, right, Angular, React, that VS Code mostly they use. But PyCharm here, it is used for both front end, back end. For Django people, it doesn't require separately two editors. One editor is, even we can go with VS Code or we can go with PyCharm. Both are supporting for both the activities. Okay, editor perspective. So that's why for all you people, we are installing PyCharm for our application side work. That's called Python work. Okay. And in Python, if you want to install anything, we have a common command called pip. Okay, so you can use a command called pip to pip install followed by library. Okay, lib. So that means in Java, if you want to install anything manually, you require to download and you require to install it. But whereas in Python, it doesn't require anything. If you have internet, simply you can use pip install command followed by the library name. Like example, if you install pandas, pip install pandas simply. So that automatically will install all the components which required for pandas through internet. You doesn't require to go for Google and do some work on the Google to download. It doesn't require, automatically Python will do that. Anyway, while we are working in the application side, I will help you to understand this part. Okay. And along with that, some of the other tools we used is, one is Git, I can say that. Okay, Git with GitHub. So this will help you to store entire your code in the cloud repository. Like whatever the code we are doing here, it will be in our machine, our computer. Now if you want to share that code to other members or other team members or other your reporting guides, to whomever you want to share, so to make that, general approach is we have to make a zip file and we have to share through mail or OneDrive or Google Drive or what do you call WhatsApp, whatever it is. Okay, but the good approach is, now today onwards you can better habituate with Git, because whatever the code you written day by day, if you want to share, it is really, it's a not easy, that manual process. Whatever you zip process means, today you did something, tomorrow you want to share, tomorrow you did something, day after tomorrow you want to share again, every day we have to zip it and we have to send back to the other fellows, so it's very difficult. So if you're using Git or GitHub, so automatically the code will be pushed to the main repo, and the central repository can shared by multiple people at a time. So that is the one beauty of this particular Git. So Git is a central repository where we can store our local changes or local code into main repo, and this main repo can shared by other people just by through link. You don't require a zipper, just you can pass the link to other people, they can download it. Okay, and also it always acting as a backup, so for your all works what you are doing in the current mission. So if you lose your data in your mission, if you lose your project, it will be stay in the online, you can take yourself always as a backup. So that is the beauty of this Git or GitHub. That's why we are going to be covering Git and GitHub also as part of our flow. And after that we have PyTest. Basically, as a developer, we have to perform unit testing. Otherwise, what happened, we may not have confidence whether it is performing as expected or not. So that's why we, as a developer, before deliver application to tester or end user, we have to perform whether our application is working efficiently or not. So for that, we are using a component called PyTest, which will help you to develop perform the unit testing or functional testing on your code what you written. So this is also be covered as part of this application flow. Okay, so this is some of the components which we commonly used for application development, and also we may use it for our understanding of application. So any doubts as of now? Any doubts as of now for anybody? Like anyone, you can ask me, no issues. Yeah, MongoDB, MariaDB, both are same, Nana. Someone mentioned the MariaDB, MongoDB, so both. See, the last date of the fee payment is, it is like this coming week, means 8th March. 8th March is the last date of the initial 3000 payment, Nana. Any doubt as of now? Everyone, any doubt? No? Okay, great. Great. But see, this is the what our going to be learning technologies and what is the each part of each place of technology learn. So that's why we are going to be covering all these technologies as a full stack, I can say that. So that's why I'm highlighting each time, thoroughly understand each part of the technology and spend good time of practice. So again, I'm repeating, whatever the huge amount you're paying outside as part of your outside institutes or markets, the same thing we are also covering. If you see, just take the screenshot, you can compare the same content with any of these outsiders, you will get the same notation. Even you won't find project exposure on outside, and even these tools like PyTest or Git, you cannot understand Agile. So these are all very important things as a fresher to understand real-time architecture or real-time project. So that's why I'm always giving highlight again and again. Please spend good time to practice with us, so definitely you will more benefit rather than paying 30,000-40,000 outside. You will get for 6,000, you get lots of benefits from here. That is pretty sure, I can give the guarantee for that from outside. Okay, so that's very sure I'm telling. So any other doubts?
Sir, can you just confirm what is the offline timing?
Yeah, Sinana. Online, mostly online timing will be evening 6:30 to 7:30 or 7 to 8. This is the out of these two timings will be one timing will be fixed by today end of the day. One is either 6:30 to 7:30 or 7 to 8. This is online everyday timing. Okay. And coming to the offline, so most of the people are telling after 4 o'clock or 3:30 or 4:30, it's difficult to travel back to the home. So we are fixing to the time. Again, it's not overlapping with our your morning college timing. So we are fixing this time by 2 to 3. So like afternoon 2 to 3 will be the offline timing class. So that you people doesn't have any problem to return back to the homes. You can complete your class and you can complete your course. And yes, if you don't have class college, then we can plan it for morning. It is 9:30 to 10:30 in that case. If you don't have, but if people really require the permissions to classes to avoid the classes, then we can go with 2 to 3. So whichever you comfort, I mean that I will take. Don't have class college means you are in the third semester, fourth semester. I'm just confused. Can anyone confirm? You people are third semester, fourth semester?
Third
Hello.
sem completed, sir.
Okay, third sem completed.
Waiting
Now you
for
are exams. When will be the exams?
Don't know, sir.
Okay, not yet released the timeline.
No, sir.
Okay, done. Very good. So that means now you are in the preparation days. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good. That means you have you don't have any class at college. Fine. After the semester also you may have some summer vacation, right? I mean to say some holidays before to start your fourth semester, right?
Yes, sir. Maximum 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. I mean to say the fourth semester will start, I think May or June. Is it right?
Might be, sir.
Okay. In that case, okay. In that case, you don't have college means we can plan for morning class only. Offline, I will take morning only. Then in the case, if you people doesn't have any problem, we can take 9:30 to 10:30 as a class. Then is that okay? It works for you offline?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then I will confirm the offline time morning time and online class will be evening time in that case. So both will be manageable in that case. Even everyone who visits the offline or who missed the offline, you can attend the online class as usual. And again, I'm telling whoever attending the offline class for the sake of direct communication, for the sake of direct practice, okay, it's not mean that you cannot attend the online you have to attend. For everyone whoever in our batch in the KPHP internship, everyone should attend the online batch and online class, and also we will provide backup classes every day through your YouTube. Like we provide a YouTube channel, right? So through that channel we'll share the links and you can go through that. And even already some of the Python class, HTML classes we already uploaded in the channel. You can go through that if you have the time. Okay. But offline is mostly given for the people who are really interacting with us and do the practice lively in the office. For them we are giving offline opportunity. So utilize the offline opportunity maximum for practice, not for attending only theory for 1 hour, leaving that. Okay, spend a good amount of time for practice mostly. That is very important. Like example, if the topic is very simple, that topic we may not go for theory, that we are directly go for online, and the topic will be practiced in offline. Whoever are coming for offline, because to make you clear more on that, it's very comfortable for you. Okay, so anyway, that will tell you clearly. For online students, is it possible to come offline also? As I mentioned, right, that's what I'm telling. See, everyone should attend online. There's no optional for online. Optional, everyone should attend, and we take the attendance also for online classes. Offline, it's optional. Like example, whoever interested physically wants to listen the content and wants to do the practice physically, for them offline. But all online. Like example, some ex-person telling, sir, I'm coming offline, I don't attend the online. No, not like that. Online, everyone has to attend. Offline, optional for all. Whoever interested, come for offline. Who are not really long distance, or we are could not able to attend, or someone is doing part-time job, yes, you can go for online class. We don't have any objection. But somebody is coming offline, sir, we don't attend online. No, we not encouraging. You have to attend the online also. Both you have to attend. That is very sure. That's why we are giving two timings. Like online is separate timing, offline is separate timing. That's why we are planning to do that. Okay. Is that clear, everybody? Point?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. And also, we are also, as I mentioned, like workshops. So initially I mentioned, in the last class also I mentioned, so we are also planning to conduct the workshop, like some of the classes, like some of the topics, like example, if you take Git only, okay, we can complete this in the hardly 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So these kind of classes like PyTest or the agility, so these kind of classes we will plan for all the people, whether you go for online or offline, at college premises only. Means we will come to your college, in college only we'll take offline for all the people the topic that will be not covering as part of online. Some of the topics I will mention. Example, as I mentioned, Git or Agile, these topics will take college premises as a workshop. And along with that, some of the, for example, Django, if you consider, okay, so sometimes what happened, we require more attention towards the you people. So for that also, we monthly at least once or twice, once at least, we are planning for workshops on the college, like where we can spend a good time off with you to do a only practice. That means all the people get together and we will start one assignment, whatever we covered so far, and we'll assign the assignment, we'll stay there, will make you to comfort to do the assignment there itself, and we have to round up the class. So that kind of workshops also we are planning this time. Last time we didn't plan it, but this time we want to more engage with the students and more encourage the students to do the practice. That's what the college guidelines also coming to us. So we want to encourage you people to learn the subject more and more practically. And again I'm telling, see, you don't like think that we are paying only 6,000 and these are college tie-up people, this doesn't give any valuable content, it's only time pass. Don't think like that. I'm again warning you people, it is that only we are coming through college, that's why you are taking less amount. If you coming directly the for same package to the college, we are charging 50,000 for the same package. As I mentioned already, you can also directly contact to institute also for the same package. That's what I'm telling. We are giving very less cost because of tie-up. Okay, so don't misuse the things. You can utilize the things rather than misusing, I can say that. So that's what again I'm repeating. Please do it. Okay, that is the timings with respect to, and the materials we provide. And as I mentioned, right, we are also planning for in the month of April ending of May, we'll also going for one technical quiz, as I mentioned, right. That is also we, as part of our commitment, promise you, for you people will give a technical assessment as part of quiz, and we'll also give you a surprise, I can say, gifts also as part of that quiz. Okay, that also we are conducting mostly in the month of the May, we are planning to conduct. So that also very soon we'll update that. Any other doubts? Still the point. Any doubt as of now? Clear, everybody? And last but not least, as I mentioned, please complete the installations as soon as possible, and please complete the payments by the next Friday. And same way, installation also have to complete next Friday only. We can't allow, because we are planning to start the classes soon, maybe in the next week or upcoming. Mostly we are planning for this week only. So that's why if your installation completed, once we start the class, it will be the both we are in the same sync. We don't have any conflict again. You don't re-explain the things. So that's what we are encouraging you to do installation. And the start date of the technical classes along with your internship will inform by mostly tomorrow. Okay, so what is the date of starting for your online classes or offline classes for your courses, like whatever the technical courses, along with our internship. But today I will share a Google form with the payment details and the title selection, so that you have to complete fast, so that we have to make the offer letters for you to submit in the college. Once that part is completed, like anyway, this week we are focusing on the not technology perspective, with respect to internship perspective. For internship, what are the inputs required to submit college or to present at the college, so that all things will take care in this week. Because I think by this weekend or next week, you required to submit the internship to the college. So to make it successful, or to make it clear you people, and to satisfy the college side, we are working on that area. So that classes will spend this next week. Okay. Any other doubts? Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, then I'm sign off for today. And as I mentioned, right, in the next class, two things I will explain. So I mean that I think it's already 11 o'clock completed. So I will take the next class. Today I will cover the complete flow, right? So the next class I will explain how to create the project in Django and how to execute it. So anyway, I hope you remember all whoever coming for installation for them already it's explaining by the developers or guides which are assigned, like they're installing your application and they're showcasing how to create a sample application, right? So that's the same thing I will re-explain once again clearly to make you to clear the everything, and we can go to the next point level. That means your internship activities. After the next class will be that one, and after that we'll go for internship activities. Okay, but meanwhile we are expecting to sign off the titles from your side, and you have to fill the, along with the title you have to fill in the what I can say that payment details in the form that I will share today by end of the day. Okay, take care, happy weekend. So we'll share all the details by end of the day in the WhatsApp. I think someone else, sir, as you said, we have ML with Python domain, but I think HTML belongs to full stack. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that one. No. Like as part of the middle end, we are also covering ML basics. We missed that. I sorry. So as part of the middle end, so after Python Django completion, we are also covering ML basics, which is required for your ML project. Okay, so whoever interested in ML project, for them ML basics also, I mean that it's not for them, for all we are covering. For who are doing the project, for it is required. For whoever doing website development, for them it is not required to in the application side. But learning, all for all we are encouraging to learn it, because it might be a good focus area to upgrade yourself in the future. Machine learning concepts like panda, how to use the pandas, how to use the matplotlib, how to use the scikit-learn, how to use the numpy, these all basic libraries what commonly used as part of ML we will cover as part of your domestic knowledge. Okay, so that will be covered as part of your what do you call course, Nana. It's not excluded, included, I forgot to tell you. But like as I mentioned, right, so we'll be covered. And domains also, as part of Python we are giving two domains. One is, as I mentioned, machine learning domain, other one full stack development. Okay, so like for, but the thing is, as I mentioned, right, the learning is common curve for everyone, only domain might be different from title to title. That's it, that's the only difference. Okay, you don't get the difference between both the things, both are similar to each other. Yeah, so any other doubts? Any other doubts? And in the form itself it's having also domain name also. Okay, yeah. So shall we sign off the class, or any last minute questions? Any last minute questions? Can anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. Take care.